We are recording.
We are recording for a change. So we've had some problems lately, and
Yes.
hopefully this will continue to roll. This is Bearly Furcasting, featuring Taebyn and Injured Nerves audio production. Hello, Taebyn.
Hello, Bearly. How are you on this fine day today?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's Halloween, and that means there's a lot of ghosts and goblins and witches and furs running around in their costumes. You know, if you're in a city or town where they're still doing trick-or-treating, be careful when you're driving around. Don't hit all the little ones.
Yeah, I think I hear that's bad to like run over like things, so don't do that.
I wonder if anybody's going to dress up as the COVID virus this year.
I would not be surprised if there is a lot of that literally running around.
It's a scary thing, so it's a great thing to wear for Halloween.
That's actually very, very true. Like, I don't know, would I be more scared of a ghost chasing me around or a COVID chasing me? Probably the COVID chasing me around would be more scary.
Ghosts? Who cares? I don't care.
I know, I don't care.
I see a note here that you have some small science or something like that.
I do, and I don't know what prompted me to do this, but a little piece of trivia. So, you know, like in your shower or puppy tub, you get mold sometimes, and sometimes that mold is actually pink. I don't know, have you seen that? Have you ever seen the pink mold?
I have, yes.
Yeah, it happens. And I was curious, like, why is it pink? That's funny. And it turns out, so here's the story. Well, it's not really a story, but here's the trivia behind it. The pink color is from a pigment, prodigiosin, produced by Serratia marcescens. under the right growing conditions. And apparently the right growing conditions are not when I try and read what those are called. So this thing called Serratia marcescens that I can't pronounce is commonly referred to as pink mold or pink mildew, but it is a bacteria causing those irritating pink stains in the bathtub and on your shower head. So there you go. Now we know.
And now you know it. So that must have been something you saw at some point and thought, oh, this would be fun to talk about.
I think so. I actually don't even remember how that came about, but I've had this note to talk about that for whatever reason.
Let's move along to our mailbag. We have some mail this week.
We do. That's so exciting. I WAG.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to Rain Raccoon and Chiron because they both made donations to the Ko-Fi to help support the show. So,
thank you so much.
Both of them.
Yes, wag for both of them. Thank you so much, Rain Raccoon and Chiron, for that. That's very nice. Helps us out quite a lot. So thank you.
Okay, and then we received a question, a math question from a listener.
Yes, we did.
It seems to be appropriate to Halloween. So the listener wants to know, which is more, nothing or half of nothing?
Nothing or half of nothing. Ooh, which leads me to think that. Let's think in terms of ghosts. So, yes, thank you, listener, for this question. I thought long and hard about it. This is what I came up with anyway. And so, thinking in terms of ghosts. So, a ghost is like you can think of nothing. You know, there's nothing there. It's a ghost. And I don't want to think in terms of a half a ghost because maybe it's Casper and he's a friendly ghost and we don't want to cut him in half or anything. So, let's just think in terms of like two ghosts. So, our nothingness is this combination of these two ghosts. Okay, and there's nothing there. It's two ghosts, but there's nothing. We think of what it is. It's nothing. I mean, you know, whatever. So half of that is still one ghost, which is still just nothing. So really, half of nothing is the same amount as nothing. Now, I know some people might be tempted to think in terms of, well, half of zero is zero. So yeah, it's the same thing. I want to kind of just say, in terms of nothing and zero, nothing is actually not the same thing as zero, which I think it's very common to actually think in these terms. So for example, the equation x plus 1 equals 1 has the solution x equals 0. Now, if, you know, putting it in terms of the story problem, if I had one apple, this equation is the same thing as saying if I had one apple, and if I wanted to know how many apples do I have to add to that one apple to get one apple, well, the answer is 0 apples. So
0 apples.
0 apples. But I like apples, so But, for the sake of argument, we'll just say there's 0 apples. Now, on the other paw, think in terms of the equation x plus 1 equals x. What's the solution to that? Again, that's in terms of a story problem. That's the same thing as saying if I have 1 apple, how many apples do I have to add to that 1 apple to get that many apples that I just added out of it? And the answer is there is no solution to that, because I'll always have 1 more apple than what I added it to. I can't just have that same amount of apples left, right? There's no solution.
There's no solution.
So on the one paw, we have 0 is the actual solution to the equation. On the other paw, we have there actually does not exist a solution to that equation. So that would be same thing as nothing. So this is just me trying to explain the difference between 0 and nothing. And there you have it. Take it for what it's worth, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, all right. That was a long answer to a short question, I have to admit.
Was.
So,
but I think any fur that knows me is not surprised, because this pup talks a lot, and I probably didn't need to talk that much about that, but I did because, well, I'm a pup.
Finally, in the mailbag, we have a couple of packages.
Oh, yes, they came.
I will open the packages.
I have not seen these yet, so this is exciting.
It's much bigger than I thought it was.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. Anyone that's listening cannot see it. From Lux Operon, who is our guest today. We'll be hearing from her in a little bit.
Or Lux Operon.
She'll be our guest on the show in a little bit, so make sure to check her out. But she does some wonderful neon work with neon lights and stuff. And so she sent me and Bearly some things, and Bearly was just showing me what she made for me. And it's this wonderful Taebyn face badge that has neon lights on it and everything. And it's pretty nice. And Bearly, what did she get you?
Okay, so let me set that aside, and then I'll open up this other thing. And again, for our ASMR people...
What does that mean?
ASMR? You were supposed to look it up. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, too.
I was supposed to look. Wow, I'm behind.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll write it down, and then for next week, I will know what How do you spell that again?
ASMR.
ASMR, okay.
Wow, this is a set of goggles. And...
and crinklies.
The ASMR people are going crazy right now.
I am so excited to find out what this means.
Well, it is a set of her glow goggles.
Neat.
Which I will have to turn on here and see what happens.
What?
It's a lot more complicated than I thought.
Technology, it is pretty complicated.
Ooh.
Oh, look, they're pretty and they're glowy.
Yes.
Ooh. So when we go to a con next, you'll have to bring them and show them off at the dancey when it's all dark.
And that, my friend, was the mailbag.
That's one of the more involved mailbags that we've ever had, I think.
Which brings us to our media section today.
Okay.
So let's see. For me, I'm still watching The Weakest Link, the new Weakest Link, and I'm rewatching American Dad. Of course, the fall lineups have started, so we're watching the new Star Trek Discovery on CBS All Access. The other channels, we're watching Bob's Burgers and Family Guy. So that's what we've been watching. And of course, because it's Halloween tonight, I will do a tradition that I have done for the last 53 plus years, and that is watch the Peanuts Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
Wow, yes, that's a great old traditional Halloween story. Very spooky, I guess, because of all the pumpkins, I guess.
Yes,
I don't know.
The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Yes.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching? Anything exciting?
Continued watching Suits. I think I mentioned that last week. Really good show. I'm loving it. We're on season 5, I think, is the current one that's out. I don't know if this is the last season or not, but it's pretty good so far. I watched this movie. It's a Disney movie called Race to Witch Mountain. Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a UFO thing, and it started out seeming like it would be quite interesting, but I think I ended up falling asleep, so I don't even remember how it ended or anything. What is interesting about it is one of the stars is Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. It's one of the stars, actually. So I know, right?
Hmm.
Who would have thought that? So that's an interesting thing there too. What have you heard about that show?
I just remember the Witch Mountain series from Disney. I mean, they go back many, many, many years.
Oh, really?
So
Okay, I didn't
yeah,
realize that. Yeah,
yeah,
this
there's a
is
whole series.
this whole series. Okay, yeah. So this movie came out, I think, a few years ago or something. But so there's a story involved there, apparently.
If it was a few years ago, then Dwayne Johnson would have been a child performing in the movie.
Oh, yeah, no, and he wasn't. So right. That's a
Okay.
good point. And I'm also watching the most recent season of Schitt's Creek. Have you seen or heard of Schitt's Creek? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing show. I think a lot of people probably heard of that because they went up for I don't know how many Emmys or something. Like they got a lot of
Hmm.
awards for this. But
Yeah.
really great show. So I've been watching that too. And if you haven't seen that, and I feel for whatever reason I should point out that it's spelled SCHITT apostrophe
Yes.
S Creek. Um,
Yes.
and there you go. Anyway, that's what I've been watching.
Well, that brings us to our. Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Wait.
You had some homework.
Oh, yes, I did have homework. Let's see, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I forget how it came up, but the thing about B-Stars winning all these awards and everything
Yes.
came up. And so my homework then was to find out what all the awards they have won. And I actually had that prepared for last week, but we got so excited with everything that was going on, whatever was going on, that I forgot
Hmm.
to report back. So I report back now. So yeah, BeStars has won like a lot of things. In 2018, they won a few things. One was the 11th Manga Taisho Award, being the first Akita Shoten title to receive it. So Akita Shoten is a Japanese publishing company focused mainly at teenagers, so it's kind of younger stuff, and they do a lot of
Hmm.
manga. Anyway, so they won in that category. And also the new creator prize at the Tezuka Osamu Cultural Prize.
Okay.
I think that's a Japanese thing. And the 42nd Kodansha Manga Award in the Shonen category. And Kodansha is a huge Japanese publishing company, and the shonen, that's manga category. I think is a specific type of manga.
Hmm.
And also the New Face Award at the Japan Media Arts Festival. I tried to make that Japanese sounding, but I didn't do that very well.
So, do the Japanese just yell everything?
Yes, they do. That's all they do. So they just yell at each other. So that was 2018 yellings awards, and in 2019 they won CG World magazine, that's computer graphics magazine. They won an award in the animation category, and I did not yell that because it's not a Japanese magazine, I think. So so that's all that.
All right. Well, it's time to post the link for 5-minute furs for fun.
5 minute furs for fun.
10 minutes later. Well, no one joined us, which means we do Mad Libs.
And I'm guessing, since it's Halloween, what kind of Mad Libs are they?
I have a Halloween night Mad Lib.
Wow, that's exciting.
Are you ready to give me words?
I am. I was going to guess that it was going to be a Boxing Day Mad Lib since it's Halloween, but it makes a lot more sense that it's a Halloween Mad Libs instead.
That's true. All right. So I need an adjective.
Spooky.
A verb.
Fluorescent. No, that's an adjective. A verb. How about to fluorescentize?
Let's go fluorescence.
that works okay. I'm good with that.
Another adjective.
Unique.
Unique.
Did you know how you catch a unique rabbit?
No, Taebyn. How do you catch a unique rabbit?
Well, unique up on it.
Ha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And do you know how you catch a tame rabbit?
Tame way. Ha.
Unique up on, yeah, tame way, unique up on it, right.
Okay. It's like, okay.
Okay.
I need an adjective.
How about not funny?
Not funny.
I mean, it's 2 words, but I guess it's an adjective, kind of.
Okay. A noun.
Fox.
And then a verb.
Jumping. I don't know why I got excited with that, but I did.
And now I need an exclamation.
Pop.
And then an emotion.
Flufferous.
What? Fluffer what?
It's got to be an emotion, right? Because it has fluff in it.
Flufferous. Okay. Another noun.
Brick.
Another noun.
Tree.
Another noun.
Oh, wow. This is getting crazy. How about candy? I mean, it's Halloween, so I guess I should throw it.
Another noun.
This is getting stressful. Stress pup.
An adjective.
Creepy.
An adverb.
Adverb. Oh, so how about early?
Another noun.
Ear.
2 more nouns.
Okay, giraffe and Legoshi. Or I should say Legoshi. I should pronounce it right. Actually, since it's a Japanese thing, I should be pronouncing it Legoshi.
Okay, and then finally an adjective.
Fluffy.
All right, our story today is Halloween night.
Halloween night.
It is a spooky Halloween night, which was very appropriate that you chose that word in the very first sentence. It was a spooky Halloween night. As I am fluorescent down the street, a unique monster that looks like not a funny fox jumping out from behind a bush.
Okay.
Pop, you flufferoast me. Sorry, said the brick. I'm in a rush to get to the tree so that I can get Halloween candy. Again, very appropriate. He is a monster, but I think Halloween stress pup sounds really good. So I followed the creepy monster. We ran early all the way down the street, through an ear and over a giraffe, only to find that there was no Halloween Legoshi or Legoshi. It just goes to show you not to trust a fluffy monster on Halloween.
Okay. Well,
the end.
I think we learned a lot from that. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure we did. I'm just going to say we did.
Well, that brings us to our guest today. And our guest today, as you mentioned earlier, is Lux Operon.
Yay, Lux Operon. Talented.
Joining us today is Lux Operon. Did I say that correctly? Or is it
Operon?
Operon. I went with the long O.
Oh, no worries.
So, like an operator. No. An operator.
Hi.
Not an operator. Yeah. Welcome, Lux. It is truly a pleasure to have you on our show. You are not only a furry, but you're also a steampunk cosplayer, and you make some really awesome neon con badges and goggles. I think we're going to talk about all of that during this session. So, Taebyn, do you have some questions that you would like to ask Lux?
How are you tonight, whatever this is, Lux?
Yeah. I mean, time is relative, so... but in my current state of existence, I am euphoric. I'm so excited to be on this show with you guys. You've had some huge heavy hitters on this podcast. Little old me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, good. We're glad to have you here on the Pupcast. I have some questions that I would like to ask you. So I'm just going to do that. Steampunk cosplay. First of all, for our listeners that may not know or vaguely know, what exactly is steampunk?
Sure. Okay. So steampunk, I've got a sarcastic answer and I've got an honest. I'll do the sarcastic first. It's goths discovered brown. What it is, it's an aesthetic. It is a style where it's Victorian science fiction, H.G. Wells, that sort of thing. And there's influence from Japanese anime. There's influence from other literature and movies. And it's kind of like furry. There's not kind of one defining thing that is, this is steampunk. So I originally got involved in the scene. My dad and stepmother are huge Renaissance fair nerds, and we wanted a family costume for one weekend, and I put together a steampunk costume, and I put like a ton of bits and bobs on it, and then a bunch of people, a bunch of people found me, and they're like, hey, there's a community behind this. I'm like, well, no kidding. And I started hanging out with them and being a steampunker. So that was my original fandom, my original love.
Wow. And are you still in the steampunk scene?
No, I am no longer involved in the steampunk scene. So I had an airship crew because that's in where I'm from. That's kind of how people organize themselves. And we were called the Ace of Spades. And
Oh.
we got into conventions, we hosted panels and all that, but they were not very nice people to me.
Oh.
And I was kind of going off in my own creative direction. I was really getting really hardcore into making. And I had made my magnum opus, this thing called the Mobile Jubilation Station, which was a steampunk DJ backpack. And I just blasted Depeche Mode in a hotel in Madison, Wisconsin for a whole weekend.
Mobile Jubilation.
I had a little,
Depeche Mode, Wisconsin. All that.
it even had a little bottle opener in the nose, gears on the side that moved. I mean, and it was
Bottle opener.
yeah, it was just a bunch of garbage I found in my garage. And just, that's the beauty of steampunk, was just find something, glue it onto something else, and call yourself Bartleby Brixby and go drink at an art gallery. Like, that's what steampunk was.
Wow.
And the sad thing is that, yeah, my crew was, they were friends I had for a long time that I just were not that encouraging or nice. And we had a big blow up, and I ended up packing all of my stuff in a black box. I was actually going to bury it in my backyard. My stepmom's like, no, just.
No, that'd be too goth of you.
Exactly. But yeah, if I was still involved in steampunk, I probably would not be doing the EL wire work that I'm doing now, because that basically, my flight from steampunk directly started my passionate dive into the world of wearables and gloves and stuff.
And indeed, the glowy wearable stuff is I can see the steampunk in it. So when you were doing the steampunk, what about it was your favorite? Like, what really drew it to you?
I mean, everybody would sit down and be like, "Oh, steampunk's this, steampunk's that," and then you'd find somebody who would just completely fly in the face of it. It's kind of like a cloud of uncertainty, you know. I mean, somebody would show up and they kind of be steampunky, so sure, you know, come on along. And I just, and again, just going to garage sales, going to Home Depot first thing in the morning, and finding all these bits and bobs. Oh, I can maybe spray paint this or glue and attach that, and just giving yourself permission to kind of run wild with different ideas. At the end, I probably had like 5 or 6 different alternate costumes. I was actually working on a steampunk Laura Ingalls Wilder cosplay.
Oh,
It was going to be, yeah, it was
cute.
going to be steampunk Little House on the Prairie. And the other thing, something that didn't quite fit in steampunk, which made me sort of sad, was I was also really interested in world building and storytelling. And I actually had a whole panel where I talked about steampunk world building, and then also creating a steampunk character, steampunk Sona, if you will. And I had a character sheet with like stats on it. I'm an insufferable nerd.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
But yeah, and ultimately, having a character was really not, even though we had steampunk names, having a character and role playing and telling stories, that was really not it for the majority of the folks in the scene that I was in. They wanted to dress up in corsets and raver goggles and, you know, and just kind of float amongst it. There's one guy doing something with that. There's a con out in Wisconsin called TeslaCon, which is a live role played convention. There's a story and Bobbins battles an evil professor, and you're on some kind of fantastic ship. So that felt really cool, but there just wasn't a lot of that. And also, the steampunk scene has really ballooned up and then kind of popped and then fallen out. Most of the conventions are now no longer with us, and all that. So it's sort of roiled back down to a simmer. I knew that, like, if I was going to stay involved in the scene, I'd probably still see the friends I didn't just want to see anymore.
Mhm.
So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's time to move on.
So my next question kind of actually relates to, I think you were just talking about, could you tell us about Amelia Pendergast?
Sure. Yeah, that was my steam Sona. So
I had a
Amelia,
feeling.
yeah, she was the head engineer on the ship, the Ace of Spades. Our concept was it's weird, like we had this foil out in the steampunk scene. There was this whole group called the Anti-Piracy Squadron, the Imperial Anti-Piracy Squadron. And because their thing was, the pirates were really big in the Renaissance scene before steampunk became a thing. So all the people had their pirate garb, just put goggles on their hats. Oh, I'm a steampunk pirate. So their thing was that, you know, they were no funsy anti-imperial or Imperial Anti-Piracy Squadron, whatever. And so then we became pirates, and we had like a casino ship. The Ace of Spades was our thing. And I did a lot of graphic design work. I designed our flag. Again, I wrote panels for us. And for the time that I was really involved in it, I had such an opportunity to do like 10,000 different creative things and kind of really train up muscles that I didn't have an opportunity to do when I was, you know, in college and other stuff. So, you know, I'm grateful for what steampunk gave to me.
Right. No, I mean, just because you're not still in it doesn't mean it's still like a part of you. I mean, that's
Oh, sure.
made you who you are today. And that's wonderful.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
as you say, it brought you this wonderful business you have, which I will get to in a moment because I would like to move to the furry world. So, where does the name Lux Operon? I
Oh,
said it wrong. Operon. That name, where did it come from?
interestingly enough, so the Lux Operon is a real thing. So I'm a bio nerd, and I'll try to make this as accessible as possible, but it's too complex. Just let me know, and I can simplify it. So, Taben, do you know what DNA?
I do know what, and
It's the code for life. So, and what's interesting is that so some little tiny microbes have what's called RNA, which is just kind of like DNA. It's just the chemicals are different inside of it.
Mhm.
And so if your DNA is a book, then genes and operons are chapters of that book. And the Lux Operon lives inside of a little bacteria and when the Lux Operon is read by its cells, it produces bioluminescence, which is living things glowing. And those bacteria live in mushrooms and lightning bugs and squids and so
fish.
yeah. And so the Lux Operon is responsible for the entire phenomena of bioluminescence. And so when I established my studio, I was like, I am going to be the thing that allows people to express themselves through light. And so that's why I named myself Lux Operon, and then it got shortened. Well, now my handle is Lux because in the furry fandom,
You go with like the first syllable.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so the studio is called Lux Operon. I go by Lux. I have a character named Lux, but it's a handy handle to jump both in and out of the furry realm.
So Lux, so that's your persona, I assume?
Yeah, well,
Sort of.
kinda.
Okay.
So I have kind of two characters that people know me by. The one that's much more common, she looks like a furry. Her name is Clever Girl, and she's got these glowing dinosaur bones. She's actually made of a juvenile Allosaurus skeleton, and she's also black goo. And she just kind of wanders around, but when I close my eyes in my mind palace, I'm like, what is my character? It's Lux, and she looks kind of like a neon demon, and she walks across the bottom of the ocean. She hangs out and again is a representation of a huge microbial colony and is thousands and thousands of years old. I had so much fun writing her story after joining the furry fandom and realizing, oh, I can do this and people are interested. So
yeah, there's like a lot going on there. So demon, when I think demon, I think like fire, and so but demon is not getting extinguished by the water because walking at the bottom. And then what microbiological stem cell neo research with a new puppy, new anonymous twist. I don't know. There's a lot of words there that I don't know.
Well,
there are a lot of words there, Taben, and you have mutilated all of them.
I believe that.
Because her story kind of mirrors my own and also the story of bioluminescence in general, because all life comes from the ocean, and bioluminescence originally happens in little tiny algae. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of glowing waves, but that's kind of that's bioluminescence. That is cool. A dinoflagellate that's glowing. Sorry again, big words. But so Lux is she's this microbial colony that lives in the ocean, and she's kind of sad and lonely and bored, and all of a sudden she realizes, oh, she has this Ariel Little Mermaid moment where she wants to go and witness the land, and so she sends these things up, and I call them glitches, and Clever Girl is a glitch. So she lives inside these dinosaur bones, and she lives her life and has human experiences, and then when she passes on, her body returns to the ocean, and Lux learns about the world through her glitches, and it mirrors my story. Yeah, because when I was first doing EL wire work, I didn't have a fandom. I had no one, and I felt so lonely and kind of weird. And then I started making art, for other people and these gifts. And then all of a sudden, I see my goggles popping up in con videos and all that. And I learned about people, about what they want based on how they wear my thing. So in essence, when I give someone a badge or a goggle or any of my products, it's a glitch, if you will. And then I get to learn about the world through shared experience.
That's really cool. Everything really ties together there. That's in a nice hardcore little bow. But Lux, so is Lux illuminated?
Yeah. So Lux, when she glows on the bottom of the ocean, and technically the microbes in the bottom of the ocean glow, and then her glitches glow. And it's funny because I love to think about this is so strange, but I find stories of these exceptionally strange things struggling to be normal, like really, really compelling. I don't like stories with big, powerful monsters who, whatever. I love like because I want to commission a piece of art of like my girl, Clever Girl, having an existential crisis at an H&R Block. Like I think it's so funny to have these fantastic creatures, and then to have them struggle to be human. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the anime Full Metal Alchemist, but I mean the story of like people just trying to be. They have all these crazy powers, but they just want to be human. They just want to be normal again. So, I whenever I think of Lux on the bottom of the ocean, when she sends her glitches up, the glitches they don't know what they are or kind of whatever, and they sort of integrate into the cultures they're in, and there's a sense of otherness to them, but they still have, they still become people in a way, and then when they return to her, maybe she becomes more people. I don't know. I haven't worked it out quite yet, but I do love the idea of Clever Girl kind of hanging out with all these other furry characters and being this strange glowing dinosaur thing, but having her just act like a person and and live her life. So that just really, then in my mind palace again, that sort of is what I envision her.
Well, it's always great to have a strange glowy dinosaur thingy just like hanging out. Say, hey, how you doing? You want to go catch a movie and a burger or something? I mean, I
Right.
won't fit into the theater because I'm a big, scary, glowy monster thing, but we can try.
Exactly.
I'll
Take
bring
up
my
2
ID
seats.
with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take up 2 or 3 seats. So, of course, you've gone to cons, and typically, how many cons would you go to per year, and what were they?
So mainly I was out on the West Coast. So my first convention was Midwest Fur Fest, which is an interesting story. I don't know if we'll have time for it, but that was my forced entry into the furry fandom. I've done Furry Week Atlanta as a day con. I've intended to go to Megaplex, but never made it out. I've been to FC. I have been to PawCon. Oh, it's my favorite convention. I
Heard
love,
that's a
love,
good
love.
one. Yeah, I've heard that's
Oh,
good.
it's got all the energy apparently of like the old fandom, quote unquote. Like 3
Oh,
people staff it, so you can actually hang out with your friends.
oh wow.
Um, yeah, and FC, and then also like I do a lot of furry events too. While I was in the Bay, I would do the trolley ride that Cat Prowler and the Blue Heiser was taking photos
And
on.
Zarafa.
Yeah, and Zarafa, yeah, and also Patch Ofer, the gentleman who
Oh,
you had on earlier, we actually ran a little
we did.
event for. Yeah, we ran a little thing called PizzaCon, where we're like, let's just have a furry convention in your house based on pizza, and we had like movies and stuff. So
My
yeah,
new
and
Nice.
persona is pizza.
a lot of aspects to furry that I engage with outside of conventions, but also like just vending and attending conventions is also so wonderful, and I miss them terribly.
You speak for so many of us first when you say that. So when you are at cons, I assume you're in a dealer's den a lot of the time. Are you in there most of the time? Are you suiting around, or what are you doing?
I do have a fursuit that I put EL wire on. Her name is Swamp Dog. She glows, yeah. And she was just a pre-made I picked up from Lemon Brat and then indulged myself by just sewing a bunch of stuff into. I do suit a little bit. I love hosting panels. I hosted a panel called "Turn Your Friends and Family into Furries with This One Weird Trick." Because I
That's a
actually turned my
long
dad.
title.
Yeah, I turned my dad into a furry, so that was.
How
I
did
talked
you
about.
accomplish that? What did you do?
So when I first was leaving Michigan, I showed Dad a convention video, Sid Stote's 2013 video from Anthrocon, and I was like, "You were wondering what I was going to do after steampunk? Like this is it." Like, and I showed it to him. He was like, "Oh, okay, I kind of get it." And then he found out I bought my fursuit, and he would keep seeing photos of me and how much like fun I was having. And then he has a costume at the Renaissance Fair that is kind of his persona. He loves to be the old gray satyr. He's a goat man. And so what he did, he actually ran across a maskable in Walmart of a gray goat and sends me this picture like, yo, like Lux, look. And he's dancing around with his goat head on. And then we went rogue fursuiting a couple years ago for Halloween. And he wore his goat legs and I wore my head. And we got weird looks at the mall. It was really fun. And I just described in my panel like, hey, so you can lead a horse to water. Here's how you can kind of make it drink. And
And a goat in this case.
yeah. Well, I love my dad so much, and I really want to commission like a proper head for him because he has so much fun doing it. Yeah, and as far as at cons, like yeah, ideally vending. I also do a lot of pre-sales, so I'm also running around delivering product.
So speaking of dealers and commissioning and things like that, you're clearly an artist. You make badges and goggles and things like that. So starting with the basic quote unquote artistry of making badges. When did you start drawing?
I've drawn little doodles all my life. Like when I was a little girl, like my favorite subject of study was Abiyoyo.
Abi Yo-Yo.
If you were reading Rainbow Kid, he was this giant who like ate people, and I just had this whole phase where I was obsessed with this character drawing pictures. If my parents were mad at somebody, I would draw pictures of Abiyoyo eating them and smashing their house.
I don't even know what's happening right now. What is?
Well, I'm describing my early art, and I was a musician for a bit in high school band, and I consider myself more of a designer than a proper illustrator. Like I can't draw actual stuff worth anything, but I'm really good at creating vectors and tracing and creating like aesthetically pleasing symmetrical stuff. I use a program called Inkscape.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I use that I design my own logos. I kind of do branding for other people on the side. Steampunk actually gave me an opportunity to sort of develop that with making the Ace of Spades logo, doing a bunch of designs. I actually ended up helping out the Imperial Anti-Piracy Squadron with some of their graphics and stuff. And then when I came on to my own business, a lot of the skills I learned there, I then put on my website. I put on stuff. I even have a little Redbubble store where I dump designs just to give people opportunities to buy my stuff. In fact, like my number one selling thing is a little trash can with fox ears and a tail.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been pirated so many times I can't even count, but I still make money off it, so whatever.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So let's see, Inkscape, and so you mainly trace things and do that. Is there and I don't know too much about aspect of artistry. So do you have like a favorite medium to work in, or how does that work typically?
My other canvas is the human body. I mean, I love making wearables. I love making things.
Yeah.
That people wear and express themselves through. Because it took me, like, steampunk really taught me to love my body, my femininity. Like, I didn't wear skirts before steampunk, and I didn't wear kind of whatever. And so when it came time to quit that scene, I was like, I still have to find a way to not only love myself, but like help people love themselves. And I joke with folks, like my goggles and my badges and stuff, those are sprigs of cilantro on the main beautiful dish. Yeah, it's a garnish. Because the real piece of art is you, because you're a beautiful, wonderful, amazing person.
Aww.
I mean, you're one without buying my stuff, but also the fact that you patronize me. I mean, the goggles are only complete when they're worn by a person. And also what's cool is my stuff, a lot of my stuff is context sensitive. So my goggles are sound reactive. So it'll light up to the music or even to your voice. If you hold the battery pack to your body, it'll actually light up to your voice, and you can.
Wow, I did not realize that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, like at cons, I can imagine that's just awesome to see at cons and the dance floor and everything. Mm-hmm. Wow. So how did this neon light work start? I mean, obviously came from the steampunk. Was a lot of the inspiration, but really, where did that come from?
So I'd left steampunk, and I was in not a dark place, but just this place where I was like, well, I guess I'll take college seriously again.
Why not?
And I got a phone call from a friend of mine, Morgan Collin, who runs the Detroit Leather Company, and he also used to run this convention called World Steam Expo, which also, kind of died in the death of the scene in Michigan, sort of. And he was speaking to me. He's like, "What are you doing these days? I remember you being so involved with us, and I miss hanging out with you." I was like, well, So there was a video from America's Got Talent, and there was a crew called Team Illuminate, and they made these glowing dancing costumes. And I just watched that video on replay for like an hour, just thinking, oh my God. And the power of my making from steampunk, this little voice in me was like, I bet you could do that. I was like, I bet I could. So I was just spending the meager money I was making as a lab technician on little soldering iron, little kits here. But the wonderful thing about EL wire, which is the material I use, is that it's so easy to use. You don't need to know coding. You just need to know not to burn yourself and you keep at it if something doesn't work. That's basically it.
So I'd still have trouble with it.
Well, you can't be too excited. You have to be like, meditation, calm.
Okay,
enter the solder space. But Morgan, I told him, I'm kind of playing around with this EL wire stuff. Like, I really enjoy using it. And he's like, well, I'm a crafter, and besides going to conventions, I sell my leather work. Do you think you could turn it into a crafting thing? And I was like, man, it's going to take some money to get the spools and the supplies. He's like, well, how much? And I quoted him, not an insignificant amount of money. And he's just like, done. here you go. Here's a credit card you can use. I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
And
Wow.
yeah. And then he and I traveled to different, mostly anime cons, kind of all over the Midwest, selling our stuff. And then I had a dynamite weekend at a convention called YomaCon. It's one of the largest anime cons out in the Midwest. And then he's like, yeah, no, we're going to go to a little sci-fi con in Chicago. It's for a convention. I'm like, what? Like, oh, nothing, don't worry about it. And I get there and I'm like, oh no, what is this? And, here's the thing. So I was making little EL wire cutie marks because there was a lot of bronies in the anime fandom back in 2012, 2013. And those sold like hotcakes. But I was so determined not to have a good time. I locked myself in my room after the vendor hall would close. I'm not going to have any fun. And then finally on Sunday, I went down to the hotel bar because I had a lot of money in my pocket, and I bought the kid who had candy bracelets all over his arm. I bought him some breakfast, and he told me his story, and his name was Kickflip the Otter. I'll never forget this kid. And I was like, you know what? The furry fandom, it's an animal thing, but it's also a people thing. And I think I might have a home here. Furries don't hesitate at all at my prices. They don't hesitate to commission me. And it's such a joy to work with, to make people's like visions a reality. Like it's everything I could have possibly ever wanted. So when people are like, well, why are you like in the furry fan? Could you make a lot of money somewhere else? Maybe. No, I don't care. I found my people. So that's the place I'd rather be.
Why would you leave home when you're already there? Do you have any special plans or commissions or anything special you're doing for Halloween? Or how does your
Yes.
Halloween even normally go?
Weirdly enough, like Halloween was like a big family holiday for me because again, my dad's a Rennie, and I'd fly home to Michigan, and then for a week we'd go to like cider mills, and because it's really cheap to fly on Halloween. I know that there's furry conventions that happen around that time. PawCon was happening like the weekend after is usually when Paw is. And also for this year, because of COVID-19, I live in a condo that's on like a second level. There's a staircase that leads up to my house. So I'm going to give trick-or-treaters candy by wearing my EL wire fursuit, and I'm going to drop candy down a PVC pipe that's going to slide all the way to the base.
Cool.
And it will socially
Nice.
distance. Yeah, and
Yep.
we'll play some music. I might watch Nightmare Before Christmas. Give my family a call, wish everybody a spooky and happy holiday, and also I am doing a photo shoot a little bit earlier called Neon Dreams, where I'm actually inviting over just a few people. We'll be safe, and they're going to take some photos of new product I'm launching, and then we're going to kick down the doors, and I'm going to launch it Halloween night, and I'm really excited about it.
So where can they find you on Halloween night? Because this episode is going to come out on Halloween.
Just go to borntoglow.co is my website.
And how do you spell that?
Born to Glow. So born, BORN, to TO, glow, GLOW .co. It's not .com. That's a weird skincare company. It's borntoglow.co is the domain I could. Yeah, I'll be launching my photos there, and also I'm very active on Telegram and Twitter as well. So my handle on Twitter is Lux Operon, all one word, except the O at the end is a 0, and then I'm Lux_Operon on Telegram. I love just getting DMs from whoever, but my mailbox is always open. I love to chat.
And so from that website, borntoglow.co, not com, if other furs or people wanted to go and see your stuff or commission you, see what you have to offer, see what you have to customize for them, is that the best place to go?
Yeah, well, again, my website's great for retail, but if you want something custom commissioned, like if you're interested in me adding wire to something you own, basically, I actually have a whole section of like custom, a full form for custom work. So if you want your fursuit to have cool sound reactive lights on it, or maybe you have another interesting idea of what you want made, you can fill out that form. And also just talking to me again on either Telegram or Twitter. And what I do, even for the badge process, I actually do all the mock-ups for free. Like I don't take a cent of your money until you're satisfied with what I'm going to put out for you. And
That's awesome.
So, yeah,
Because
and
you care.
not only that, but I just love designing these badges.
Oh.
It's not, and it's a joy to work with people and figure out really what they want. So the website, Twitter, Telegram.
Not only are you like not trying to necessarily make a big profit for it, but you're doing it because you're really motivated and you love making things for other furs and other people, and you love what you do, and that just means that the ending product will be even that much better because it's got all that love and creativity in it and stuff. So that's a really great kind of win-win situation for us.
Thank you. I mean, art is just the coolest way to love somebody. Because again, as we were speaking before, there's no one in the world that loves something as much as a furry loves their persona. I mean, my name is Skippy the Pink Armadillo, and I love this pink armadillo so much. Like, cool. Like, we have a pink armadillo for you? Great. And everybody's got all these hidden meanings to the different colors in their personas and different whatever. I mean, I'm in a community of storytellers and just intensely imaginative people. And every now and again, when I wonder, am I furry enough? You know, my character is a demon that walks on the bottom of the ocean. Some people worry about being too furry, right? Everyone's self-conscious about it. I'm like,
You don't.
how can I wear ears at, like, you know, when I go grocery shopping? Like, how can I make myself more part of this whole really cool thing? Because I don't want to be an interloper. I want to be a member, you know, of this community.
I think you are. This pup says you're a member. Woo!
You know what? If I get the Taebyn rubber stamp, then that's all the certification I need.
The Taebyn seal of approval. So, Lux, is there anything else you'd like to share with the listeners? I mean, you've said a lot of really cool things, but what would you like to share most with our listeners?
I would love to share the following advice, which I so desperately wish I listened to and understood when I was younger. So, I live my life with this concept that's called radical nihilism. And it's going to sound like a bummer when I first talk about it, but trust me, it's going to open up. So we are very clever little primates who dress ourselves, and we know how to farm, and we live on this tiny wet rock that is hurtling at inconceivable speeds through space.
This is starting off great. Okay.
Right. We are a speck and a speck and a speck and a speck. Like, we are so tiny, and no one's going to remember us maybe like 20, 30 years after we die. We're not important, but that's so freeing. The thing is that all the horrible consequences that you think exist for being yourself and taking risks and trying things, they don't exist. I mean, take it from somebody who spent the last 8 years of her life just screaming into the void, look at me, about my stuff. Like, you know, it's the thing is that, like, take comfort in the fact that we are small. Because in your smallness, you are powerful and undefeatable. Like, the microbe that creates bioluminescence, Alla vibrio fischeri, is millions and millions of years old. Not terribly complex, but it's survived this long because it's singularly insignificant. And you are allowed. You don't need to have permission, not least of all mine, to go out and be happy and live your best life and do amazing things.
Yeah, I like that. Like, we don't have anything we really have to answer to. So just, like, go ahead and grab life and live life to its fullest and do what you want to do and what makes you happy. And I think and love each other. And yeah, no, this is great. That's great. That's great.
I mean, all there is love. And again, the furry fandom, I love running into people who have, like, pretensions in this fandom. It's like, okay, so it's very serious that you're a dog person in a hotel. Like, calm down. Calm down.
Calm down.
Yeah,
Pat.
seriously, we all know that guy who's very or girl or intersex or genderless person who's just so serious about one aspect of furry and nothing else, and the fandom's garbage and but it's like, just chill. Like, calm down. This is great. All of us have no idea what we're doing. We're all just kind of showing up to hotels and the internet, and we're just kind of talking and spinballing crazy ideas. And as long as this community is supportive of each other, and we all just, the unconditional love, it's the definition of unconditional love. It's you have a thing, it's weird, and you're awesome, and I want to be weird with you. Like, that's furry.
There you go. There you
That's
go.
furry. That is furry.
Bark.
Well, Lux, thank you very much for coming on our show. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Well, we'll let you get back to whatever you are that you are doing, and we will talk to you at antter time.
I like how you said that. We'll let you get back to whatever you
Right.
are.
Is you're doing
Yeah,
whatever you are, whoever you are, wherever you are.
just
You should
whatever.
get back to it.
Oh my, yeah. All right, well, glow on with your bad selves, boys.
Glow on. Thank you.
There you
All
go.
right.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
bye-bye.
bark.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was a great interview with Lux. She's a ball of energy.
She really is, which, you know, again, I've said this about some furs. It's like there are some furs that maybe this pup should not get together with because the amount of energy would be way too much. But yeah, she's very talented, has very good stuff. What she say? She's been doing this 7 years or something. She sent us some stuff, so we got to see first paw some of her stuff, and she does great work. So shout out to her. Check out her website. Support her in her endeavors.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to furries in the news.
Furries and See, I gotta change this up somehow. How am I gonna change this up? The news. So I did that. Okay.
I'm going to leave that part in there where you said, I have to change this up somehow.
Okay. And that will be different than what's normally done.
That's true. So this may not be furry, but the big news that came out just this week before this episode was that the Animaniacs are coming back. All new shows on Hulu. Yep.
Do you know if it's by like the same creators and animators and stuff?
All the same.
Wow.
Including Spielberg, because he's the one that created them in the first
Really?
place. Yes.
Wow, that's really cool. So I think we have to just watch it just because nostalgia and everything like that.
Go to Hulu and look at or call it up or type it in, and you'll get, there's 3, what do you call them? Not coming attractions, or previews or trailers, and they're pretty funny. So you should,
okay, cool.
Yeah. So for everybody listening out there, go to Hulu, watch Animaniacs. It's pretty cool. They're even bringing Pinky and the Brain back as part of it.
Oh, really? Okay, they're just going let's just bring back the 80s or whenever it was. And I think I classified it actually a little bit as furry, so I think that's appropriate.
That's appropriate. No, it's appropriate. So since there's not a lot of stuff that's furries in the news lately, why don't we try something new and read random WikiFur pages? How's that sound?
That sounds exciting and random. I kind of wag about that. Let's do that.
Okay, so randomly picking a page, and here it is. It's the Anthropomorphic Society of Old Dominion University. Wow, look at that. They have a society. It says the Anthropomorphic Society of Old Dominion University, or ASODU, is a furry organization at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. ASODU was founded on February 7th, 2019 by Yuri the Deer, Terran Coyote, and Andromeda Wolf, who desired to create an official dedicated organization for furry students of ODU. These 3 went on to become the organization's first president, vice president, and treasurer, respectively. Following the passing of Dog Bomb on April 5th, 2019, ASODU raised $70 for the ALS Association. Well, that was very nice of them.
That's very cool. I had no idea.
Membership in ASODU is limited to either current students or alumni of Old Dominion University, though one does not need to be a member to attend OSODU events. There are also no dues to be paid, though donations to the organization are welcome. President is Yuri the Deer, Vice President is Laurence, Treasurer is Andromeda Wolf, and Secretary is Rumble. Secretary Rumble. And that is our random WikiFur page of the day. That takes us to our Halloween story, because I know it's story week, and I'm sure that you have a Halloween story for us.
I actually have 2.
Oh, 2 stories. Okay.
I figure, special occasion, Halloween. So this first one is called Creek Squeak Halloween. And it claims to be, it says this right here, the best Halloween book ever. And I don't know about that, but we'll see what all you pers think.
Okay.
And each page has like a little flap you can open up, and it makes a little sound at you. So
I hope it makes a sound. I hope it's not like the barnyard sounds.
Maybe it'll turn out to be the barnyard sound. So we'll see. Okay, it starts out. We're going to the castle to celebrate Halloween. Let's sneak through the pumpkin patch without being seen. Who else is trying not to be seen? And then you open up this, there's a big pumpkin, and you open it up, and it goes, and it says, peekaboo, ribbit, ribbit, it's a green spotted frog.
A green spotted frog.
And indeed, there's a little picture of a green spotted frog plushie, as a matter of fact. I don't know why they made it a plushie, but they did.
Because, because frogs are very fuzzy,
Apparently, maybe on Halloween especially, I don't know. Oh, and there's on this page, there's a little fun plushy wolfie looking out from a tree. Back outside, we creep along through the forest where more things hide. Who's sitting in the tree hole? Lift the flap to look inside. Can you guess who's hiding? Can you guess? Make a guess.
A squirrel.
Let's open up the flap and see.
A sheep?
Actually, it looks like it's supposed to be. It says peekaboo, hoo hoo. It's a big-eyed owl. So it's an owl having an identity crisis because he thinks he's a sheep.
A sheep. It sounded like a sheep to me.
It did. It really did. Hooray! We've reached the castle. Now the party can begin. Can you find the friendly ghost with a funny, happy grin? Look behind the doors, and the door says Happy Halloween. And the little wolfie that we met before is looking at the door, and same with the witch and a kitty and the spotted frog and the owl who thinks he's a sheep. And you open the door that says Halloween. And you open the door that says sheep. But owl is flying, so now it's a flying sheep owl or something. I don't know.
Talk about your crossovers.
I know, right? So you open the door to the castle that says Halloween, Happy Halloween, and it goes.
Okay.
And it says peekaboo, whoa, whoa. I don't know why it says whoa, whoa, but here's a friendly ghost, and there's a friendly ghost cat. I mentioned Casper before earlier in today's pod, so maybe that's Casper. He knew he was going to be on the show later or something.
Maybe.
And that's the end.
That's the end. And the ghost goes, whoa, whoa, apparently.
And a ghost goes, whoa, whoa. And the owl goes, sheep, sheep.
She goes, bat.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
So apparently that was the best Halloween book ever. That's what it claims.
The best Halloween book ever.
So now my second story then has competition. We'll see if it can beat the best Halloween book ever. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Does it make sounds too?
It does, as a matter of fact.
Yay.
Yay. And this one is called Trick or Treat. And it's got this little handle thingy on it so you can carry the book around like a purse or something. Like
a trick or treat bucket?
Like a trick or treat bucket, actually, yeah. That would make sense, actually. That's why it would be called Trick or Treat. You're so smart, Bearly.
I'm a smart bear, yeah.
You're a smart bear. Heroes and mermaids skip down the street. Even monsters love a Halloween treat. And there's little pictures. So there's little buttons that you push to make the sounds. And then there's little pictures after you read things. And I think I was supposed to push the little buttons after I read the thing. So let me start over and do it right this time. I mean, you can keep that in the thing, but...
Sure, of course, yes.
Sure. So for all our listeners, I'm going to start over and do it the right way because I was just naughty and didn't push the little buttons. So heroes and mermaids skip down the street.
Oh, Happy Halloween!
Even monsters love a Halloween treat. And then I'm supposed to push a little candy button that goes...
Trick or treat!
Ding dong, trick or treat.
Yeah. Okay. And then it goes on to say, Weenie Dog's party with kitty cats.
Weenie dog parties with kitty cats. What?
Happy Halloween!
Well, that's what it says. Weenie Dog's party with... And there's a little picture of some little guy in a hot dog costume. And then there's a dog barking at him, but in a kitty costume. So,
okay.
So let me do that again. Weenie Dog's party with kitty cats. Now that we have the stage set, and then the button I'll do the button again.
Oh, Happy Halloween!
Unicorns share candy with magicians in hats, and then I'm supposed to press this button. A new button that I haven't pushed yet.
A new button, okay.
A new button.
Thank you!
I don't really know what that was. Okay. And then there's more. We're not done with our journey. The pumpkins. There's little pumpkins on this page. They're all laughing and stuff. The pumpkins are happy, and so is the spider. Where's this? Oh, there's a little spider next to one of the pumpkins. Oh,
and then little happy spider.
Little happy spider. And I'm supposed to push the ghosty button again.
Oh, Happy Halloween!
There's only 3 buttons, so we're kind of running out here. And so is the cowgirl who sat down beside her. Okay, so let me read the whole page, and then it might make sense. The pumpkins are happy, and so is the spider, and so is the cowgirl who sat down beside her. And so it would help to see the picture there's a picture of a cowgirl and some girl in a spider costume, and they're sitting on pumpkins. And the pumpkins are happy about it, apparently, because they're all laughing. They like being sat on.
Pumpkins need to be sat on.
Apparently.
That's what they exist for.
That there is no other reason than to sit on a pumpkin.
Yes.
There's oodles of candy. Oh, I'm supposed to push a button now.
Trick or treat.
Okay.
And there's something much better. All of these friends celebrating together. And then, I have to push 2 buttons. I push this one.
Thank you.
And then this one.
Happy Halloween.
And that's it. I actually think this one was better than the last one. I think the last one lied when it said it's the best Halloween book ever.
Well, publishers sometimes just do that.
They do.
They do whatever they want. Yes. So
I feel very enlightened from that last story, though. Definitely.
enlightened. Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Exactly. Ooh.
Okay, you know what that brings us to? That brings us to our section on really bad jokes.
Oh, wonderful. I cannot wait. I wag.
And of course, for our listeners, these are really bad jokes. And of course, this is Halloween, so we're going to try and stay Halloween themed. How does that sound, Taebyn?
I think it sounds really great and scary to be really bad jokes on Halloween. This is scary and exciting all at the same time. I'm wagging in a very meticulous way right now.
Okay. Well, Taebyn, I have a surprise for you.
You do?
I do. So earlier in this episode, in this pupisode, we had Lux Operon on.
We did.
We did. And you know what? She wanted to do jokes with us. So welcome back, Lux.
Oh, wow.
It's good to be here.
Ooh.
That's the ghost of Lux past.
It's like, oh my goodness, it's Halloween.
Oh goodness, yes. I'm trying to get my Crypt Keeper on to get these bad Halloween puns going.
Lux, you got the first joke? Why don't you give us our first joke?
Sure, yeah, I can definitely do that. So, why was the skeleton working at Starbucks?
That's a really good question. I mean, he probably wanted to get livened up or something, but I really don't know. Tell us, please.
He had to pay off his student bones.
He definitely did. So this is starting off just great. This is great.
Taebyn.
Hi.
Do you know where fashionable ghosts shop?
Probably not at the Gap.
No.
But where then?
They shop at a boutique.
That's very fashionable of them. And you know, when they go to these boutiques, sometimes they drop pumpkins. And do you know what you get what they get when you drop a pumpkin?
No, what do you get?
Squash. and then you know, once that happens, then it's a broken pumpkin. Do you know how to fix it?
I don't know. Lux, do you know how to fix a broken pumpkin?
I do, but I'm going to let him say the punchline.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, because you already know that you fix a broken pumpkin with a pumpkin patch.
Oh, yes.
How do vampires get around on Halloween?
Probably not on a wheelie cart. So how do they get around on Halloween?
They get around in blood vessels.
They do. They definitely do.
You know, I had a few vampire puns, but they suck.
Oh,
yeah.
They're real tender in the neck, aren't they?
I was just gonna say that actually.
Whoops.
So that must be true that they are. I mean, you know, with us kind of saying same things at the same time, we do what ghosts do, and they make mistakes. And do you know what kind of mistakes ghosts usually make?
No, what?
They make boo-boos.
Oh my goodness. You know what ghosts eat for dinner, David?
I don't. I mean, they can't eat the squash because that's already been dropped by the skeletons. So what do they eat for dinner?
They eat spaghetti.
Oh,
Spaghetti. That's a good.
Italian nail is spooky. Yeah, definitely. They do that. They have their spaghetti and they have some friends over. They have some friend skeletons over to have dinner with them. And do you know what kind of wine the skeletons like to drink with their spaghetti?
They like to drink.
They like any kind of wine with a full body.
Oh, they didn't invite the mummy over to dinner. The mummy never takes time off work. You know why?
That's a hardworking mummy. Why is
Yeah.
that?
He's afraid to unwind.
Oh. Ah.
Yeah, I know. We don't want him to have to do that, or else.
Right.
Yeah, that would just be horrible.
So, we were talking about vampires earlier. Do you know what a vampire's favorite fruit is?
Ooh, no, I don't.
Kumquat.
No, a nectarine.
Ah!
Oh, snap. If these posies could snap, they would do that.
Mhm.
And while they're having their nectarine, they like to read things. And they read the New York Times usually. And do you know why it's always the New York Times that they read?
I know why.
Because it has great circulation.
Oh, I got one more.
Okay, one more from Lux and one more for me. Yeah.
Okay, so the witch, she was actually late to the dinner party because she was pulled over by the police. You know why?
Why is that?
She was hexing while driving.
Oh yeah, don't do that. That's gonna get you into so much trouble.
That Halloween party you were talking about, I only go to Halloween party for the booze.
Oh. Well, I have to say, just to wrap this all up, because the mummies, they are already wrapped up. At these parties that you're talking about, the ghouls like to hang out with the demons. And do you know why? At these parties, the ghouls love so much to hang out with the demons.
Why?
No.
Because demons are a ghoul's best friend.
Oh man, sneaking in a Marilyn Monroe reference.
Wow.
like a blooming onion of humor. I love it.
That takes us to the end of jokes. If we have any listeners left, thank you for sticking around.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sticking around. And Lux, thank you for joining us for jokes.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh,
awesome.
I love being here. And again, everybody have a safe and happy Halloween. I can't wait to see you guys.
Happy Halloween. Okay, you know what we have now for you? I have something new for you today. Well, it's not new. We did trivia before, but this is Halloween trivia.
Oh, wow.
And I'm hoping that you haven't heard these before. Are you ready for your Halloween trivia questions?
I am ready, and I'm sure I haven't heard them before.
We're not going to have categories. You're just going to get 5 questions. This is much like the weakest link trivia. So it's like you get 5 questions. If you get it wrong, the money goes down again. So you don't get to bank the money. Oh, I know. So, all right. So are you ready to play the weakest pup?
I'm ready to play the weakest pup.
Halloween colors are black and orange. What do these two colors represent?
Okay, so in the past, the puppy logic has actually helped out. So I'll try that again. So black and orange. So when you go trick-or-treating on Halloween, that's at night when it's black out. So I'm guessing the black represents night. And orange, pumpkins are orange. So I'm just going to take a wild guess and assume that the orange represents pumpkins.
Well, no.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The puppy logic did not work this time.
It did not work this time.
Orange represents the harvest. And black equals death.
Oh, well, that's a lot more morbid than I expected. Now we know.
You know Count Dracula, right?
Not personally, but I hear he's a nice guy.
I heard he sucks, but But the point is, what does Dracula mean?
Dracul. It's very cool in the draw. So that means that it would mean it's cold outside and I need a warm blanket.
Well, close. It means son of the dragon.
I mean, dragons, maybe the dragon blowing fire is the warm blanket that I needed. So there you go. That works.
Did you carve a jack-o'-lantern this year?
I did not this year. I didn't. I was not a festive pup, apparently.
So, what nationality is the Jack-o'-lantern? Clue is in the name.
The
Jack
name.
O'-lantern.
Oh, lantern. I'm going to
Yes.
guess Ireland. Is
Very good. Irish.
Yay!
Yes.
Irish, yes.
And for bonus points, what vegetable was used to carve it originally because there were no pumpkins in Ireland?
Turnips.
Very good. Turnips. Yay.
Why would you carve turnips? How does that even work?
I don't know.
I don't either.
How do you hollow out a turnip?
I don't know. Or maybe they use the turnip to hollow out the pumpkin? Just don't know.
You've heard of the witching hour, I'm sure.
I have heard of the witching hour.
What hour is it?
The witching one? I'm going to guess.
Which one?
Exactly.
The witching hour is midnight.
Okay. That works.
So this is a multiple choice question next. Are you ready?
Okay. I better be.
Ghosts. We talked about ghosts before when we talked about half a ghost and half of nothing. So a ghost that moves things around is called A, a poltergeist, B, a poultry ghost, C, a pointy beast, or D, a werewolf.
Well, we already know where the wolf is, and we know that I'm not too afraid of it, because then I would be a chicken geist or whatever you said, poultry geist.
Poultrygeist,
chicken,
yes.
and being afraid. That I was really reaching on that one, and whatever the other one was, I don't even remember. So I'm going to go with poltergeist.
Very good, poltergeist. Well, that was a waste of time.
But what wasn't it a
But then
great
again,
waste of time?
our entire podcast is a waste of time. People are wasting time listening. So, but we thank them for
very
it.
much for listening. In our time that is wasting away or something. I don't know.
I'm starting to get messages on Telegram because we have been mentioning that if they have stories that they would like you to read, people are starting to send me storybook titles.
Oh, they are? Okay, cool.
Guess what? We did it. We made it to the end of another podcast. I'm so excited.
Yay, I wake.
And as I said for everybody, thanks for hanging in there. If you were out trick-or-treating, I hope you got good candy. If you're able, please support the show through donations at Ko-Fi, like our good friends of the pod, Chiron and Rain.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, send us your math questions, your story requests. You can email us at barelyfurcasting.com. And you can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, Fur Affinity, WikiFur, Telegram. Taebyn, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Well, I want to say to every fur out there, stay safe, keep active, get out and run around a little bit, keep getting that exercise and stuff, and be productive and clean the house or something like that. Learn some stuff, pick up a book and learn something. Have fun with things, because even though, we're in lockdown and everything, but you can still have fun. We're still together. We're still a big family. I love that, like we said before, I love that we do this podcast. I feel it helps keep us together and keep us active. So keep doing stuff and keep loving stuff. Keep barking away, keep fluffs, and we will hug again someday, hopefully soon. And so those are my words.
And remember, furs, fur up the vote. Next week is voting week.
Fur up the vote, definitely.
It's important. I know we say that every time we have a vote. It's important to vote, but really, this year, it's really important to vote.
This year, it turns out, it's like really important. And I want to emphasize again what Bucktown Tiger said the other week when he was talking about this. He made a really good point that if 100% of us actually do vote, then, whatever that turns out to be, then at least whatever the government is, it actually represents 100% of us, not just like 50% of us, because that's not a good government that we want to be part of.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, get out there and vote and do your part.
All right. Well, Taebyn, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. You are the weakest pup. Goodbye.
I am the weakest pup. Goodbye. Until next weakest whatever. Bark.
Yes.
Bark.
Bearly Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by me, Fairly Normal, aka Mike Began. and is edited by myself and our associate editors Rain Raccoon and Canes. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate Regday with Damien Tanuki. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com and through the YouTube free use library. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can also help support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.